Hi, welcome to Astrology for GAN Traders. My name's Olga Morales. Today I'm looking at some slides and research from my DVD called WD GAN Wizard of Wall Street, which I recorded and presented to various groups in 2008, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we have a quote from page 70 of Tunnel Through the Air, where GAN wrote, "I have figured out the repetition of each cycle when wars will come. I believe that wheat prices forecast coming wars. Through my study of the Bible, I have determined the major and minor time factors which repeat in the history of nations, men, and markets." Let's have a look. I remember the first time I saw this chart. This is from GAN's commodity course, and basically it's a CBOT natal. CBOT stands for Chicago Board of Trade, and it's very intricate. It looks very messy. Essentially it is 4 charts, natal charts again drawn, and here you can see all the circles, and then on the outside he's got his cross in there, his cardinal cross, and also what he has is surrounding that cross is all the major conjunctions and oppositions of planetary alignments over time, and he's actually recorded the dates on when these occurred. One in particular here is 1931. It's very hard. You need a magnifying glass to see, and you can see also on this side is 1931. So basically what I did the first time I got this chart was replicate it so that I could understand what was going, and this is what it looks like. So essentially he had 4 charts. The first chart was the Columbus's sighting of America, which is in the middle, the center. Then he had the American independence chart, which GAN was using the Gemini chart, which you can confirm that in Tunnel Through the Air. Then we have 2 CBOT charts that he had, natal charts for the Chicago Board of Trade. And essentially what he was doing was overlapping them to see where there are a similarity between the charts. This is what we do when we're looking at synastry, like family charts, anything where you're trying to see similar axes or degrees and zodiac signs. And you can see here also that there's a lot of Cancer that between all the 4 charts. There's a lot. There's also quite a bit of Aquarius in here and Gemini. So again, that's already giving you a focus of where to look in terms of transits of the planets and how they're going to affect the markets, and as GAN says, coming wars. So here's another quote from Tunnel Through the Air, which is page 300. "Many nations will join against us," he wrote. "Mr. Gordon, do you know that the market is following the forecast which you mapped out in 1927? Edna asked if he thought that there was any hope of a terrible war ending soon. "No," he replied, "it will get worse in 1931 when many other nations will join against us. The end will not come until the summer or fall of 1932. So what was happening in 1931 and 32? Basically, this is a graphic ephemeris. The horizontal lines is actually the natal chart for the American independence, and what I've done there, that it's just showing graphically where the planets were transiting. You can just see how all this activity, all of them joining up. And of course, the last page of Tunnel Through the Air was the eclipse over New York, and you can just see this whole concentration here of planetary intersections telling you that this is a really high clustering and congested time for something to happen. But here, when we're talking about 1931, you can see basically Jupiter was in Cancer opposite Saturn and in Capricorn. Saturn in Capricorn was square Uranus in Aries, and Neptune in Virgo was semi-square Pluto in Cancer. So that's all what's happening in this chart. Now also from page 320 there's the fall of Chicago, and GAN wrote, "When the sun rose over the great city of Chicago on the morning of October 3rd, buildings were smouldering in ruins. It was the greatest destruction that had ever been in history of the world. Above GAN predicted the low on the 5th of October 1931, and the actual New York Stock Exchange closed on that day." So let's have a look at this. This is the rising the rising chart for the sun on that day for the fall of Chicago, and you can see here we've got the sun and Venus rising opposite Uranus at 17 Aries, Pluto's at 22 Cancer, and Saturn's at 16 Capricorn. So you can see how Venus 16 Libra is exactly square to Saturn. So this is, again, here we have a cardinal grand cross or square. You can see all that energy in there, and that was what was showing up on that graphic ephemeris. Okay, now why is this important? If you remember my previous video, I was talking about all this cardinal energy and showing you a cardinal signature indicator. Well, this is 1931 32. Basically the peaks here show when there's more planets aligned in the cardinal signs, and you can see October is where Gann was predicting the close there, and then the bottom in 1932 you can see again a high of cardinal energy. But look at how when it eases off, you can have these times when there's eases off in terms of cardinal, and you get some peaks in here, okay, like in here. So what I've done here, this is actually 5 charts aligned. I know it looks very messy, but essentially what I've done is just put the fall of Chicago around Gann's quad wheel and just showing you the cardinal signs, which are Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn. They are the 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th houses of your horoscope. Essentially they're the most important because they're where we start things, and they concentrate on in terms of mundane issues, on the seasonal changes and where we have extremes and balance. So in terms of mundane astrology, it's very important, and Gann often would set up his charts using the Aries on the ascendant, just to show you how this is very clear. So you can see how we have all this energy in the Cancer and Capricorn axis, and also in the Aries and Libra axis. That's what we're concentrating on, because we are using these natal foundation charts. Okay, now why I was talking about my last video looking at August this year, you can just see how similar it is. We again are confronted with all this cardinal energy. In 1931 it was in the middle of the cardinal signs, around 16, 17 to 22. But now we've got it in early degrees of cardinal. So we've got Pluto at 3 Capricorn, we've got Saturn and Venus and Mars all coming in early degrees of Libra, and then Uranus and Jupiter here in early degrees of Aries. But you can see actually this time around we've got more planets involved, whereas in 1931 we had the T-square created by those Saturn, Pluto and Uranus here, and plus the Sun and Venus were coming in here. So you can see the similarities, only that Mars wasn't exactly into this pattern here. So this is what is so important about this time, and how it's very similar to just before the Great Depression in 1932, the bottom there. So we need to be aware of this, and I hope you're just paying attention of why all this cardinal energy is so important. So thank you. I hope you've enjoyed that presentation. I know I've sort of gone through it really quickly. I just want to show you what you can do with astrology and why it's so amazing when you start getting a feel for it, and what you can actually do with it. And also just to make an announcement, the VAA, which is the Victorian Astrological Association, have invited me to present on financial astrology at the next September meeting as part of a panel of astrologers. And if you're interested in more details, please make sure you're on my mailing list via my website. Also, I have had my an article published in the Traders World magazine called The Jehovah Cycle in W.D. Gann's Tunnel Through the Air. So cheers from down under, and please visit my website and put your name on my mailing list. Exciting things are happening, and just to know what's going on is really important at the moment. So thank you.